Hi everyone, and welcome to the WebRTC Fiddle of the Month, the first one for 2021, and this time we're going to talk about codec capabilities. How do you know exactly what type of capabilities or codecs your WebRTC implementation in the browser is supporting now? Do you have VP9 there, H.264, AV1, and what are the capabilities inside the codecs? What profiles does it support? So Philip here decided to write something for us. Show us the fiddle, Philip.
Yes, let me share the screen as we usually do. So we have a fiddle which runs in Chrome and Firefox this time. And why does this have? No, we won't. So we are going to look at 3 ways of getting the information. One is by using the RTCRtpSender.getCapabilities method. The second is a similar method on the RTP receiver. And the third one is using a peer connection to get that information.
Okay, why do we need these two approaches of get capabilities and looking at the peer connection?
Well, if you look in Firefox, these buttons here, RTCRtpSender, getCapabilities, and RTCRtpReceiver, getCapabilities are not available because these objects and the static methods on them are not available in Firefox yet.
Okay.
So if you support Firefox, you would need to use a peer connection to discover that information if you're interested in that information.
So that's like I'm going to create a peer connection, I'm going to set local whatever, and then look at the SDP, parse the SDP, and get and extract the data from there.
Yes, we can start with that method if you want.
Yes.
Yes, so we have our peer connection on click handler, which is an asynchronous function. So we create a peer connection here. We're adding a transceiver, and we're making it a send-only transceiver, which will change the result. So if you do a send-only receiver, it will only show you codecs that you're capable of sending. Well, if you have a receive-only transceiver, you might have different codecs or different codec profiles.
Okay.
That actually happens with VP9.
Okay.
And then we create an offer here. Simple so far. And then we're using my favorite SDP utils to parse the SDP. So this line here splits the SDP into the session part and the different media sections. And we're discarding the session part because it doesn't contain any information about the codec, because it's just generic stuff for the session. And then we're iterating over the remaining sections, which is a single section, because we called add transceiver once, so we have a single media section.
Okay.
And from that, we use the helper function parse RTP parameters, which is nice because it parses all the RTP map lines and the codecs and stuff. And then we're iterating over the codecs and logging for each codec the codec name and the parameters. And we do that in a format which is similar to the stuff you can get from the getCapabilities function. And then we close the peer connection.
Okay.
Is important because you want to release the resources. So let's do that.
Why did you decide to do it for send only and not for receive only in this fiddle?
We can change that and then see if it changes the result.
Okay.
So we have here a send-only one, and it has VP8, VP9 profile 0, VP9 profile 2, H.264 in different profile level IDs and different packetization modes. And we have retransmission RTX associated with those codecs, and we have RED and ULP FEC. So to cover your question, let's change this to receive only. And I think we need to hit run and using a peer connection. And oh, we're receiving VP9 profile 0, 2, and 1 now. So we can, if we compare that to the other result, we can only decode VP9 profile ID 1, which is a certain mode of VP9, but we cannot encode it. And we can see that from this SDP we created.
Okay, so we support 3 profiles on the decoding and 2 on the encoding.
Yes. And one of the issues you have if you're sending a offer and you don't have any codec in the offer that Chrome supports, Chrome will unfortunately not follow the spec, and it will throw an error from set remote description. So you typically need to find out, okay, I want to use H.264. Do I support H.264 first? For example, on Android, H.264 might not be supported if there's no hardware decoder for it. There's no software decoding fallback.
Okay.
And if we do the same in Firefox, we will get a different result. So we have VP8, VP9, no profiles here for VP9. And we just have a single H.264 profile in 2 packetization modes.
Okay.
And now let's look at the other methods, which are the sender and receiver get capabilities. So it's much simpler. We just say Codecs is RTCRtpSender.getCapabilities video.Codecs. And then we iterate over that. We log the MIME type and the SDP FMTP line, which is the thing that appears in the SDP as well. And if we do that, we will see, oh, we support VP8. We support retransmissions. But it doesn't say we support retransmissions for this codec. So it's for all codecs, basically. We see we support 2 VP9 profiles as well as 4 different H.264 profiles. And if you're on Windows, you would see, I think, 6 H.264 codecs with different profile level IDs and different packetization mode. And
yep, I have 6.
Yes. So you can use this API to determine if you're supporting a certain profile level. And on the receiver, we see, oh, we get this VP9 profile ID 1, which we don't have on the sender.
It's interesting. It's for my OCD, they put it last and not in the middle.
Yes. It's a good question why.
Probably because they don't support it on the receiver. On the sender, sorry. Okay, so we've seen that we sometimes, or we probably need to look at which codecs we're using and be more aware of that. There are 2 ways to do that. One of them is to use RTC sender and receiver gate capabilities, which is simply an API that goes and gets us the data. And if we can't access these, we can just go and use the peer connection to create that in the SDP and then parse the SDP.
The main difference is that the peer connection is giving you that in an asynchronous way. So you need an async function, while the get capabilities API is synchronous, which comes with its own problems because apparently there is an issue that the hardware encoders and decoders take time to initialize, and if you call get capabilities too early, it might be that the hardware encoder has not yet announced itself to the WebRTC layer, which means you would not get the information, oh, H.264 is supported, while actually it is.
Okay, and when do they get initialized? What do I need to do on the API level to initialize them?
They will initialize on page load, I think. And that's the thing. You don't know when you can call, when it's safe to call get capabilities. And it's a synchronous function. So what do? Do you poll it? Do you only call it after 1 second?
Okay. Okay, so I think we'll leave off with this question and wait for next month for our next fiddle. Bye, everyone.
Bye.